Welcome everyone! In this video, we are going to be diving into my top 3 best teams for the Element Cup. Now, at the time of recording this video, the Element Cup will be dropping tomorrow at the normal time that leagues typically reset, and I think many of us have all played the Element Cup. By now, it's been around a few times over the various seasons, but for those of you new to the game, it takes place at a max CP limit of 500, and only water, grass, and fire types are allowed. So very interesting meta. It is also known as the Ducklet Cup, and my goodness, the Ducklet was OP to begin with, but with the wing attack buff, this thing has just... It is unbelievable. This thing only loses to 2 things in this meta: Chinchou and Hidden Power Electric Patili. That is it. Everything else, it is absolutely destroying. So, yeah, it should be very interesting. I would imagine those of us who are still playing at this point, toward the end of this season, will likely be doing this, or maybe even the Master League, as it will be running alongside the Master League as well. So we've got a few teams, and without further ado, let's hop into team number 1. All right, guys, here we go. Team number 1. And is there any surprise that it features Ducklet? I would say not, but that's for good reason. Obviously, Ducklet absolutely rules this meta with an iron fist. So we are leading with it. And on the safe swap, we've got Wooper. On the safe swap, very bulky, very spammy Pokemon. Excellent Pokemon in this meta. And in the back, we've got Cottony. So I will preface this moving forward with this list. Take these scorecards with a grain of salt, guys. These Pokemon are only at a CP limit of 500, so the bulk scores are not going to knock your socks off. And honestly, with the wing attack buff to Ducklet, nothing is safe either, so the safety scores are really not going to knock your socks off either. So take the scorecards with a grain of salt. We're looking at mostly coverage here and consistency. Those are the most important metrics when evaluating a team. So let's just look at these with those prefaces in mind. And here we go. We do get that A for coverage. That is exactly what we're looking for. We actually get a C for bulk, which is not bad. It's very difficult to get anything higher than a C in terms of bulk at this CP limit here in this particular meta. D for safety, we don't care about that. That's pretty subjective. It's nice if you can get a high safety score, but it's not the end-all be-all by any means. And we do get a very strong B for consistency. So, with all the caveats in mind, I'd say that's a home run of a scorecard. Let's look at these matchups, and holy smokes. Look at these wins from Ducklet on the lead. My goodness, this is absolute insanity. This thing is overpowered beyond imagination, especially in the Element Cup. So you're not going to be swapping out too often. Obviously on Chinchou, you're getting the heck out of there just as fast as you can. That is the only true check to Ducklet in this entire meta. Hard walls Ducklet like you wouldn't believe. Chinchou leads, you're getting out of there into your Wooper safe swap, and try and get that shield advantage for Ducklet or Cottony to close strong. Maybe even flip switch if you play your cards right. Everything else, you're absolutely dominating on the lead. Lotad, I do want to highlight, and keep in mind, guys, these matchups are adjusted for the 2 shield, because that is how all battles begin. And Lotad handles Ducklet in the 2s. It's very narrow, but Lotad is generally going to be left standing in the end. So with a Lotad, that is a very safe Brave Bird and retreat into Cottony. And then you're going to look to play on from there, mix it up a bit. And once things get mixed up, if that Lotad is still on your opponent's team, Ducklet should be okay with a shield advantage. And Slugma, because Slugma can run Rock Throw. Although it is still very close, we have the coverage for it. No need to stay in there and take that unnecessary, super effective fast move pressure. But all things in between, Ducklet is absolutely going to dominate, as we can see here with all of these purple and pink X's. It is absolute insanity, guys. So not a whole lot to really hammer home with this team. I did want to highlight those key matchups, though, for Ducklet on the lead. So that is team number 1. Very powerful team for those of you still looking to do a late season push to achieve whatever your goals may be. This team might just be for you. It runs Ducklet on the lead, Wooper on the safe swap, and Cottony in the back for team number 1. So with all that said, that is team number 1. Let's have a look at team number 2. All right, my friends, moving right along to team number 2, another solid team for the Element Cup. It leads with Seal on the lead, Execute on the safe swap, and Lotad in the back to bring it home for you. So Seal obviously going to have some problems with those Chencho leads. So we have 2 very strong grass types in the back to protect it from Chencho. And we can allow Seal to do what it does best, and that is be the best generalist in the entire meta. I'm sure many of you by now are very comfortable and familiar with Seal. And by the way, guys, it is recommended that you run Ice Shard on your Seal. Please do not do that. You'll definitely want to be running Lick. I would humbly disagree with that recommendation from PvPoke. And here we go. Scorecard here. Again, we're really concerned with the coverage, and we do get that A for coverage. That is the most important metric when evaluating a team. We do get a solid C for bulk. Again, very difficult to get anything higher than a C. That is just how it is with these Pokemon in this particular meta at the 500 CP limit. F for safety. Again, take that with a grain of salt, and we get a solid, strong, and very powerful A for consistency. So this team has the coverage and consistency to get you the wins in the Element Cup. And let's have a look at these matchups here. So again, Seal, one of my favorite Pokemon in these 500 CP formats. Such a strong generalist, very bulky, has access to those icy winds, which can debuff, and that Lick is applying neutral fast move pressure to just about everything in the entire meta. I don't believe there are any normal types or dark types that I can think of that are worth mentioning in the meta, so Seal running Lick is very safe. It can put up a fight against Ducklet. Again, a lot of you are might be familiar with that matchup from the previous iterations of the Open Little Cup, aka the Bronzor Cup. Ducklet basically has to Brave Bird and Dip to do anything of note to Seal. They have to land the Brave Bird, and that is where Seal can shine, applying that nice neutral fast move pressure with the Licks and applying those debuffs with the Icy Winds. So it's really not so bad. Chencho is not something you'll really want to stay in there on. You're going to get out of there into Execute as your safe swap. Execute with those confusions with Stab. Really chunk these 500 CP Pokemon. Has coverage on Ducklet with Ancient Power as well, and can hit those Mud Boys with the Seed Bombs and potentially one-shot. Also answers the poison types like Bulbasaur. Salandit, I'm not sure how many we'll see. It's still very difficult to get a hold of one of those in general, to hatch one, let alone get one as a trade under 500. But they are out there. I have seen them, and having a Confusion user is quite nice. So I'm not worried too much about Salandit. They're going to be few and far in between. Seal lead, very safe. It's just those Razor Leafers and Chencho you'll want to get the heck out of there on. And we've got the coverage for those 2 weaknesses in the back. So it's pretty straightforward with this team. Chencho and Razor Leafers, you're out of there into your Execute safe swap. And you're going to be doing just fine with team number 2 here. So very solid, very solid team for team number 2 here. It leads with Seal on the lead, Execute on the safe swap, and Lotad in the back to close the game strong. So that is team number 2. And with all that said, let's dive into team number 3. All right, my friends, last but certainly not least, we've got team number 3. Another very solid team, formatted to get ahead of all of those Ducklet leads that we are undoubtedly going to be seeing. That is the number 1 lead option, and there is no better check to that than leading with a Chencho, and that's exactly what we're doing on team number 3. It leads with Chencho. Again, with Execute on the safe swap, I think it's a very strong safe swap option in this Element Cup meta. Has very broad coverage and quite bulky in its own right, as well as Cottony in the back to close out for us. Let's have a look at this scorecard here. And very similar to team number 2. The only difference is instead of an A for consistency, we get a solid and strong B for consistency. We do get that very much coveted A for coverage. a solid C for bulk, and again, that outlier F for safety. Again, guys, nothing is safe according to PvPoke in this meta. That is absolutely dominated by Ducklet. That is just how it is. Take that with a grain of salt, guys. Don't even sweat it. Let's have a look at these matchups here. So, Chinchu, obviously going to be dominating Ducklet and on the lead. Also going to be handling any other water lead, obviously. It does have and the fire leads, guys. So do keep that in mind. Chinchu has a lot of solid play in this meta. Just want to keep it far and away from those grass types, as we all know with its final stage evolution of Lantern. Very much the same with Chinchu. It has a massive Achilles heel, and that is the grass types. Most notably Bulbasaur. Bulbasaur can be a bit of a thorn in team number 3's side here. That is one where you can actually safe swap Cottony. That sounds absolutely insane and crazy, but Bulbasaur is not known for its bulk, especially if people are running the Shadow on the lead, guys. I'm telling you, Cottony puts in work against Bulbasaur in the 2-shield, and you can safely play out that 2-shield scenario if they choose to stay in. Those resisted charms with stab, trust me, I'm speaking from experience, will absolutely put in work if they decide to stay in on that. So that's what we're doing with the Bulbasaur leads. We're safe swapping Cottony and playing out the 2s. We wanted to mostly protect it from the Wooper leads as well, as it does have some problems being an electric type with Wooper. That's almost as bad as being faced with a ground type, to be honest. And the same goes for the Wooper downgrade known as Barboach. You will see those as well. So yeah, the Mud Boys, we've got solid coverage for with 2 grass types in the back. We also have coverage for the Chinchu mirror. You don't want to be wasting your Chinchu playing out that mind-numbing mirror matchup, so you can safely safe swap out of that mirror matchup on the lead. And everything else in between, pretty straightforward. We've got coverage for the grass types. Bulbasaur is really the one Pokemon that will core break this team a little bit. But again, speaking from experience, I've played that Bulbasaur Cottony matchup many times in the 2s. And if you safe swap out of the lead, that is where that matchup will occur. If they decide to stay in, trust me, guys, charms with stab really do add up on Bulbasaur. Play out those 2s and you'll be happy you did, especially if it's a Shadow. Forget about it. So yeah, everything else pretty straightforward with team number 3. Very solid team, designed to get you ahead on those Ducklet leads. Very strong team overall as well. So that about wraps it up, guys, for my top 3 best teams. And if you're wondering why it's not top 5, honestly, it's so condensed and Ducklet is so overpowered. It's just not anything else. I would just be, stretching it out. I wanted to give you 3 strong and solid teams that you could consider if you're still looking to make a late season push to achieve whatever your goals may be. So it should be fun. It's going to be running alongside the Open Master League, so always nice to have an accessible option whenever the Master League is around. But guys, I had a blast. I hope you all enjoyed. As always, I thank you for watching and keep up the grind. Thank you, guys.